Hey guys, my name is RyanCentral and welcome to HitScan. In this video we're actually good to talk about the patch notes for the patch for next week. Yeah, they got revealed early again from Riot, so we're going to go through all of the changes, go over some quick opinions. Obviously no gameplay, as these have come out well ahead of time, so unfortunate on that. But also there are some teasers about the new map, including a name and where it might be based off what some of the, Twitter accounts, data miners have said about it, so we'll talk about that too. When it comes to the patch notes, we'll go over this in pretty much chronological order. There's 3 major and major changes in here. The changes might be quite small, but the impact on them can be pretty large. This is what the dev notes had to say after the last 2 heavy patches. Guess which one was fake for April Fools? We're coming at you lighter this time. That said, Astra and Raze changes should carry some serious weight for the spike plant / defuse window and predicting incoming attacks respectively. Viper is technically a bug fix, not a balance, but the fix alters slightly the potential power of her recent decay buff. We'll start with Astra. The change is specifically to her gravity well, which now pulls agents that are defusing the spike away from it, and if they are pulled out of the defuse range, the defuse will be interrupted. The devs say this: Astra gets a quick boost this patch focused on removing a counterintuitive rule where her gravity well doesn't affect those defusing the spike. We want to try and keep our ability interaction as consistent and easy to learn as possible, and allow you to explore ways to leverage agent abilities without running into unexpected walls. We think this update can create some interesting interaction post-plants where enemies try to bait out the gravity well and play around its cooldown. As always, we'll keep an eye on her new post-plant impact overall. I think this is a fine change. When it comes to Astra, you don't really want to move the needle too much because we aren't really sure where that needle is landing right now. When it comes to her pick rate in North America and Europe mostly, but she has been picked in some of the other more major regions, areas like Korea example, a little bit in Brazil if I remember correctly, but in North America and Europe it's a decent amount. More in Europe as they tend to be a lot more experimental, but a 26% pick rate so far in the VCT tour for this stage isn't bad by any stretch of the means, considering how much the North American teams love to run Omen and don't really mess around with Brimstone or Viper all that much. It's actually a little bit lower in Europe at this point, but we are a little bit further along in Europe too. Bear in mind the finals are being played today. Also, as a sort of nutmeg on that, be sure if you want to check out some of the stuff happening in Europe, I will be casting and broadcasting some of the open qualifier games starting from tomorrow. Also a bit of a spoiler, I'll be on the official broadcast next week on Thursday, so I'll be sure to let you know closer to the time. It's really cool to be able to actually cast some VCT stuff after being region locked and stuck on the waiting list for so long. It feels like literally months, so I'm gonna give it a good go and hopefully I'll see a lot of you guys there. But sort of getting back onto Astra, you don't really want to change up too much of how impactful she can be. This is more quality of life, but of course in the right circumstances it can have some pretty big impact. I don't think this is going to be one of those changes where people look at it and go, oh wait, Astra's way too powerful now, this is too big of a change, but it does make her very strong in very important clutch scenarios, so curious of what you guys think. The Raze one is interesting. It has a lot to do with audio cues. The audio cues added to indicate when she's boosted into the air from a blast pack. Again, we don't really know what that's going to sound what that really means until we get gameplay showing us it. And the explosion and showstopper launch in VFX updated so they're less obscuring and clear out the play space faster. Absolutely not a problem if you don't understand that, so let's talk about what the devs said. Raze mains have learned to fly like a butterfly in the sky so far and so fast with her blast packs that it's not uncommon to hear an explosion in the distance and suddenly have an enemy Raze fly around the corner. Similar to Jet's Tailwind, we're adding a sound attached to Raze as she flies through the air that should help you better track her movement and give you some heads up that danger might be on the way. Along with that, we've taken a pass on some of her ability VFX in an attempt to reduce how much they obscure combat when exploding on the battlefield. So the first change is to the sound, the explosion and showstopper stuff is to how it looks, because yeah, showstopper can be very visually obscuring with all of the paint in the air. Not really too much to add. Obviously I think Raze is a very strong duelist, maybe not as impactful as Jet, but it varies around the world. Obviously in Europe, Raze is much more popular. In North America, Jet is the mainstay, so I do think this is a fair change, but I don't think that this is going to negatively impact Raze all that much, but we'll have to see on that front. Again, it depends on how it sounds and how it looks, but of course we won't have gameplay for a few more days. Not really too much to add there, I'll be honest, but Viper had some more stuff. Fixed a bug when calculating if damage taken while decayed should be lethal for players with armor. Most noticeably, this was causing martial shots when the target was decayed 50 to reduce the enemy to 1 HP instead of killing them. This again is what the devs say. After digging into reports about martial shots not killing enemies that have taken 50 decay, we discovered a bug tied to the way the game determined if taking damage should be lethal on decayed targets with armor or at specific health breakpoints. We think this bug interaction with the martial was by far the most common, but we'll watch how this bug fix affects the recently buffed Viper's overall power. More of a quality of life bug fix, but it's cool to see Viper's name in the game again. Real quick, sort of on the changes to Viper and Yoru. It seems that Viper is very much liked by a good portion of the community. I know Shroud was saying really positive stuff about her too. Yoru, not so much. I've seen a lot of pro players and pro teams in Europe sort of saying that whilst these changes are better for Yoru, it isn't impactful enough to make him a actual competitive option for the top teams. But of course, we did see a team go very close against Vision Strikers Worldstar game, and they ran Yoru exclusively with Han and had some pretty good results. Of course, Vision Strikers won it, but it was in 2-1 fashion, and was very close to a 2-0 for World Game Star, so interested to see if Vision Strikers actually lose in the future, because right now they still look a little bit wobbly. But in regards to agent stuff, that's really it. Quality of life, they've improved the feel of the ping wheel selection tool, should feel a bit more predictable, and this is really nice, I love this. Cypher Tripwise now displayed to observers with associated team colours. If only they did this for Killjoy's utility, if only they did this for Astra's utility as well, that's going to be a big one, but a step in the right direction should make watching the game a little bit more bearable. Other than that, when it comes to the patch, there isn't too much. I wouldn't say this is the biggest patch in the world that we've had, but we have come off of some pretty hefty changes for Viper and Yoru. Maybe we get more in the future, maybe that's something that we actually talk about with Volcane in part 2 of the interview that was going to come out today, but because of this patch being leaked a little bit early, will probably come out Sunday, Monday kind of time. Really not too sure, I'll be honest. But now I want to talk about the new map leaks, and I want to be very clear when I say this. This actually comes from the night market. Again, this is out at the moment if you want to check out yourself to see what offers you get. But in previous night market announcements, we have seen teasers for both Astra and Yoru. This time it's no different. In the past, it said that Yoru was a Japanese agent, teased a little bit about that. Same with Astra being from Ghana. And for this one, they've linked the Caribbean. But it's now a question up in the air of whether this is an agent tease or whether it's a map tease. And this is where the likes of people like Simpril come in, as well as other people that have pointed it out. But this is the main one that I saw, saying that due to our agent's origin, we can see that the text that's crossed out at the bottom spells breeze. Similar to what we saw with Yoru's Night Market tease, which had split crossed out. So maybe this isn't an agent tease. Maybe we don't get a Caribbean agent specifically, but maybe we get a Caribbean map. Roughly now is the cadence of when we could be receiving a new map. Usually there's one every episode. We got Icebox at the start of episode 3 alongside Sky, so maybe we're getting a map earlier. The devs have said that they really want to throw out maps on a much faster cadence, but there's a little bit more, and this is from VALORANT Turkey that actually spilled a little bit more information on what is going on here. This is from the Instagram account, and it says, "The market is here with special discounts for you. These are the goods of the sinking ship." And as Simpril has added, the image at the top, you can see a little bit of a wooden awning. So maybe this map, Breeze, apparently in the Caribbean potentially, is based on a ship. And that is what the new map is going to be on. So quickly looking through some of the Battle Pass stuff, there is, of course, this image, which looks very Icebox with all of the cargo containers and stuff. That's what me and Miska thought it was, but potentially this boat is moving from Icebox to somewhere in the Caribbean. There's Radianite on board, and this is a perfect hit spot for a potential new map. That's the theory that's going around on the moment. No idea whether that's the case. It could definitely be Agent 16 too, but really hard to know at this point. It's really cool to talk about this and speculate, and I'm really excited to potentially see the new stuff, which it feels that we only recently got Astra, but hell, we could be getting Agent 16 in 3 weeks' time with the start of Act 3. That's what we're on for episode 2, right? It's just going by so quickly. But I did want to keep this video fairly short. I do want to shout out the VCT stuff going on at the moment. As this video should be going out, or at least in a couple of hours, Yup should be having its grand final, both Guild Esports and the Fun Plus Phoenix. The first 2 teams to qualify for the MEA finals. And yeah, NA's moving along quite nicely. Cloud9's actually doing really well post 10s, which is super cool to see. And should definitely keep an eye out for some killer games today. So be sure to check out all of that. Check out all of the broadcasts and stuff for the VCT Open Qualifiers that I'll be doing. That'll be on twitch.tv/RyanCentral. I'll link that in the top comment and descriptions. I'll also link the PNG picture of the patch notes because these were taken down after they were released early, but we were given a go-ahead to talk about them at least. So let me know what you think of the patch notes, the new teasers, all of the VCT stuff, the esports scene, all happening at the moment, and I'll see you later on. Take care. See you then.